Hey, everybody. Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you could be here uh, on this Saturday, as we always are. Alongside Jan from New York City Saves Money's along here.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Jan. We're just going to basically just, shoot the breeze more or less. If there's anything you might want to,
Thank you,
start with.
Steve. First of all,
Sure.
Steve, as always, thank you for having me on. I always appreciate being here. Did I
Hmm.
interrupt you? Were you about to say something else? Forgive me.
Nah, no,
You
just.
good? Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking about something like earlier today, Steve. I mean, I don't want to like always talk about stockpiling every single minute of the waking day, but I just want to point one thing out that I feel is really important. If people can only regard stockpiling groceries as an additional point of saving, Steve, just this very morning. Now we're recording this ahead of time on Friday, but in real time, you're watching this on Saturday. However, two people came forward with comments today that need pointing out, actually three, about how they use their stockpile in place of money savings because they took the time in the past to get better prices, right? Put them away. One person, Steve, their truck broke down and they had to pour a bit of money, I guess, into fixing the truck. And what they did was they literally were so grateful to have their stockpile. And the person said they literally lived on their stockpile of food till I guess they were able to go on. And then the truck broke down again a few months later, and they did it again, and they were so grateful to have that stockpile. Another person has a situation where when they weren't feeling well one day and they how to use their stockpile. These are, we're not talking about like apocalyptic things here. We're talking about everyday situations. And Margaret, hey, Margaret, you know who you are. Thank you always for your sweet comments. And Margaret, like, specifically also outlined, like, really, it's translated into cash. The reason I'm bringing this up, Steve, is a lot of people say, I cannot save money. Well, maybe you could save cash on the groceries you get, on the toothpaste you get. Steve, why should somebody spend $5 for toothpaste, for example? I mean,
Oh, you're bringing up a very good subject. In fact, last night, um, I had to buy some toothpaste. And keep in mind, my toothpastes are a lot of your old school types from way back. One of the ones I like to use is Pepsodent, but in my area, that's becoming difficult to find. I like Pepsodent. Ultra Bright is another one. I still like certain Colgates, but you don't have to spend $4 and $5 on a tube of toothpaste. And I found a tube of Colgate toothpaste. It had baking soda and peroxide in it. It was like a frosty mint. I only paid $1.97 for it.
wow.
But normally, the Ultra Bright and the Pepsodent, I usually get those for about $1. Sometimes I have been known to get AIM, AIM, but what I was looking for was something that had the peroxide and the baking soda because it's good for the teeth. So I want that. So I kind of specifically went the extra dollar on purpose because that was really all I could find. Um, but you don't have to spend that kind of money just because it has the higher price tag. Does that make it a better toothpaste? No, not really. I'm going to tell you now. I've tried different ones up and down the ladder. I can tell you that firsthand. So
I
no.
mean, these are just like options. I mean, the choices are there. And you pointed out some really actually pretty good brands. I was so astonished when you had mentioned the Ultra Bright. I'm like, wait a minute, I remember that ad from the 60s, which was so familiar to anyone that grew up in the 19, not you, Steve, but people that grew up in the 60s. And, it was just a cute ad campaign. I was shocked to hear that product still existed, but it was very good toothpaste to choose to spend $5 on toothpaste, not necessary. Here's another thing, Steve, that I don't get: spending a ton of money on tea, especially if it's not the like flavored one. If it's the regular tea, I mean, I remember that box of tea that a friend of mine got me a year and a half back. I
Yeah,
still have it.
from
I
the
still have
dollar.
it. The
Yeah,
100, yeah, the 100 account. I still have it. I have like about maybe a little less than 50 left. And I'm not going to spend $5 on a box of plain tea. That person was so kind because they have a dollar store close by in their neighborhood. And they picked up, at that time, you were still able to get a 100 count.
not now.
This was, yeah, remember? I still
Yeah.
have it. I don't need $5 plain tea. And guess what I'll never do, Steve? Me, Janet, never. You're not going to see me in one of those fancy places spending $3 or $4 for somebody to pour hot water in a paper cup for plain tea. Uh-uh. To me,
No,
big no, no. No.
no,
Coffee I can excuse once in a while, not tea.
but you gotta watch yourself though with the Dollar Tree tea now. It's not 100 bags anymore. I think the last time I did buy it or get it, yeah, it's $1.25 now, but you only get 60 bags. But you're better off, honestly, and you don't have one near you. It's too bad that you don't. If you can make your way over to an Aldi, you can get 100 bags for less than $2.
New
It,
Yorkers are complaining. We are complaining
it,
about
it,
why do
it
we
is,
hear everybody else in the country with all these.
yeah,
Really?
no,
What about we're people too.
it is decent. No, it's not Lipton tea. It's not Louisiana or Tetley or some of your other ones, but it does it does okay. I've had both Dollar Tree tea. I've also had the Aldi tea. Um, I've made iced tea from it. I've had hot tea with it. It's as good as Lipton. Who's to say that what you're getting in the off brand, and you got to watch, some of it is actually name brand with off brand. They do it all the time. Lots of stuff that you go out and buy that's off brand is actually the name brand. They do it on purpose.
True. They swap labels. You just brought up a really interesting point, Steve, about making your own iced tea. Let me ask anyone viewing this a question. Is it that hard to brew up, to steep some tea, to let it cool off, to chill it in your refrigerator, put the amount of lemon you want, control the amount of sugar you want or don't want, and make real iced tea? We got so used to the packaged formula. Am I right or am I right, Steve?
Well, I'm going to take you through the steps. Anybody that has a coffee maker, you don't need a special just a regular coffee maker, Mr. Coffee, Black and Decker, whatever. All you got to do is put about 8 or 9 tea bags in there, and you fill up 12 cups of water, and you just turn on the coffee maker, and it'll brew the tea right into the. Then you take the tea, pour it into your pitcher, add your sugar while it's still hot if you want sweet. Then fill it up the rest of the way with water. Put the lid on it, put it in your refrigerator for a few hours. Voila, you got tea. That's all there is.
Steve, that's another reminder about adding the sugar while the contents are hot. Very correct about proper dissolving of the sugar.
Yeah, you don't want to put it in with it when it's cold. If you do that, if let's say if you accidentally forget to put in a certain amount, there's a little trick. You might as well throw in a cooking tip in this program too. Get a little bit of water, put a little bit of sugar in it, heat it up in a saucepan or heat it up in the microwave, warm up the water content, pour that into the tea and stir it in because you've already got dissolved sugar.
I love it. That's a great idea. People don't need a fancy tea maker. I mean,
No, I've bought an iced tea maker in the store. To me, it's a waste. This was years ago. It's a waste of money. It's stupid. Just get a regular, standard coffee maker like everybody in God's creation has, and brew your tea right there.
that's wonderful. Another trick, like some people, of course, slice oranges. Excuse me, slice lemons another trick is to slice orange and lemon into your iced tea for a slightly different twist, or add fresh raspberries. You can make it as fancy as you want your own iced tea at home. You don't have to rely on packages with too much sugar, perhaps too many chemicals, and costly.
No, you don't. And since you mentioned lemon, I personally like this mix better. I will take iced tea and I will put lime in it. It's a better to
Nice.
me to me lime has a it's a little bit of a different taste, but to me it tastes better. I like the
I like
lime in
lime.
it over
I
the
like it even from childhood. I always liked lime. Good idea, Steve.
and if you want to still add your raspberry little hit or the orange, I'm sure it'll still coincide because they're both. Yeah, because the orange and the lime, lemon, whatever, but the lime in this case and the orange, they're both citrus. I guess if you really wanted to be creative and go out on a limb, I guess you could put tangerine in it if you wanted it.
Absolutely. The sky's the limit. It's your choice. That
Yeah.
again, choices and not expensive because you are controlling it. You are the CEO of your own kitchen and you are manufacturing it. Steve, I want to mention a conversation I had with a relative recently. We were talking about, since you mentioned tea, we were talking about, of all things, our favorite tea biscuit type cookies. I don't know
Oh,
about you, but my sister and I, for example, we're in agreement that we don't like extremely sweet cookies. Okay. We're happy with the slightly sweet cookie, like you had the pizzelli the other day, for
right.
example.
Yeah,
That's
I get
not
it. Yeah.
dreadfully sweet.
Oh,
There
not at
is a
all.
no, right. There's a cookie called rich tea. Ever hear of rich tea cookie?
Rich
It's some
tea.
people call them Maria biscuit. They're
Oh,
all
yeah.
similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you could get them very reasonably priced. Now, some of the prices of those, tea biscuits can range from the sublime to ridiculous. But guess what? The Rich Tea Company, that one started their recipe and it came out in the late 1700s. I looked it up.
No,
Imagine.
yeah, now the Maria cookie, now remember my dad was military, so I lived in Spain, from 76 to 82 as a child. So I know very well versed in the Maria cookie. Yeah, you can get those in the store. You can pick them up, Goya brand or whatever, and they're pretty inexpensive. You got different varieties. Come to find out, you've actually got a chocolate one, which I've never tried, but I'd be
They were
willing to.
my mom's favorite, the chocolate Maria cookies. Funny you brought that up, Steve. I used to get them for her.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
they are so reasonable. You don't have to spend a gazillion dollars on cookies. You don't have to spend a gazillion
you don't
dollars on iced tea.
know.
No.
Um, I will say this because of it doesn't really have, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it doesn't. In this case, it really doesn't matter because it's for everybody. Back during the holidays, and I had also bought a variation of it from the dollar store, and I'm going to do a little bit of a like an ABC comparison. Well, back during the holidays, I bought Walker's shortbread cookies. Now they're very loyal to their recipe. They're not going to change anything. They taste as good now as 4, 5, 10, 15 years back. But I did buy a variation of it at the dollar store. Not exactly the same, but it wasn't bad for what it was. You could still taste the butter and it was flavorful. But I will say this was a complete and utter disappointment to me, as much as I like them. Royal Dansk, I bought some butter cookies a few months back. They just, I don't know what they did to their recipe, but it's not, you can't really taste the butter in them anymore. I mean, if I'm going to pay that kind of money for a butter cookie, not that it was a lot, I'll just stick with what you get at the dollar store. Because I can't see paying $3, $4 for a can of, you know, when I can just get the smaller one and get the same thing for a buck 25.
100 agree with you on this, Stephen. You're out in Florida and I'm in New York. And I had somebody got the cute little can, like from the dollar store. Delicious. The same beautiful butter cookie. The other one that we know the name, the royal one, it went down, in my opinion,
It
as
did.
well. maybe they change their formula, try to cheap out. I don't know that. I don't want to like slam a company. Maybe it's me. I'll take the blame. But certain things over time, to me, I agree, do not taste the same as it used to.
No, and yes, yes, as if I do, I am part Scottish by ancestry, and that's where the Walker shortbread cookie originated. It came from directly from Scotland. So if I,
So
so if you get the Walker, I got the long, they look like little fingers. They come in a pack. I didn't pay much for it, but it was so worth the money. But no, if you're gonna do a cookie, definitely do it right. There's some other variations. Here's one, and we're pretty much gonna close up here shortly. But another cookie that you're familiar with that is a shortbread cookie that's pretty good. I haven't had them in a while. Is one called a Lorna Doone,
oh, love those. My
and
dad
that
used to work for Nabisco.
right, yeah,
He was a postal worker and a Nabisco worker, so
right.
I had the best of both.
I was headed that direction exactly. But the Lorna Doone, I believe, is a variation of a shortbread cookie of some type. So those work good that if you want to use, because I myself, I'm a little bit of a little bit off. I've been known to take Oreo cookies and dip it in my coffee. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
Um,
Steve, I want to mention an inexpensive cookie. You may know. You ever hear of Dutch? You heard of Dutch? Is it Dutch made
Little
or
Dutch
little
Maid,
Dutch?
Little Dutch Maid.
Yeah, I like the one that looks like a windmill or called windmill cookie.
Okay, the
As
windmill.
yum.
Those are good. Yeah, I've had those too from the dollar store. It's called Almond Wind. It's a little. I think it's Almond Windmill. Well, anyway, no, you don't have to go and get, Vortsman or some other. There's another brand I can't think of at the moment. It escapes me, but Vortsman is one. There's another brand. It's more expensive. Archway.
Archway?
Archway. That's it. I knew if I talked about it enough. You don't have to pay that extra money. You can get almond windmill cookies at the dollar store, $1.25. They have a nice flavor. They're not bad. Another one that you introduced me to, or actually I knew about it, but I revisited, is the butter cookie, the one that looks like little flower shaped
Look at
thing.
little daisies with a hole in it. And when you're a kid, you put them on your finger.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, they are good. They're very good. So, you know, and sometimes I like cookies that are by themselves. Sometimes I like something a little cream in the middle. It all depends.
Right.
But
But you don't have to spend a fortune. You don't have to spend a gazillion dollars on toothpaste. You don't have to spend a
oh,
lot of money on tea. I mean, choices. Thanks for having me on, Steve. I appreciate it.
oh, you're welcome. And guys, as always, I'm glad that you could tune in and be with us every Saturday as we are, pretty much like clockwork. Except last week, Mother's Day, and one subscriber said it's good that you take your break, you come back refreshed. Yeah, it gives you time to clear your head, not eat, because there's times, as much as I don't mind doing YouTube, there's times that I just want to, you know
And double respect, kudos to you, Steve, on this point, if you don't mind me saying it. Your channel is not monetized.
not
So
yet.
every show you do, in my opinion, is a gift to the viewer.
It is.
I mean, trust me, they're like pennies at the end of my rainbow. But I mean, I mean it. But you get, you're not monetized yet. And let's do something about this. Let's get more subscribers. You guys got to hit the like button. You got to smash the like
Yeah,
button
you do.
so the algorithm raises the video.
Right. Now, I know one person that I want to mention this right quick that I think is a subscriber to on both sides, mine and yours. She had mentioned to me, or this person, whoever, that they get notifications late. Well, the only thing I know to do is to unsubscribe, resubscribe, and just to the right, I think it is, of the subscribed name, there's a little bell. There's a little shape of a little bell. If you click that, that little bell will tell you, like clockwork, when I come on. Because I have that bell lit up for you, and I get everything you do. If you put up a video at a certain time, I get the notification like clockwork.
I just want to intrude on this. It's important. If it's a standalone, you'll get the notification immediately. If it's a premiere, there might be a minute to 2 minute lag time. That's for everyone,
Well,
just so you know.
I have noticed something about premieres. Usually, about a half hour before the premiere goes on, there'll be a little notification that I'll get. Like if it like this right here tomorrow, and I'm contemplating whether I go that route or not. But let's say I did. About 1 o'clock, I'm going to get a little notification on my phone, on my laptop where I'm at now, a little notification, whatever I title it as, you and I, it'll notify me at 30 minutes. And then, like you said, again, about 2 to maybe a couple minutes before, it's going to show up one more time. So you are right. We're actually both right on this one, but you're
And I
right.
do have a show, 5 a.m., called the Instant Coffee with Jan show, Monday through Friday. And if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that clockwork, 5 a.m., Monday through Friday. But still, we need you to click on notification because sometimes I can put a different show up anytime.
You can, if you decide to get a bug in you, and I'm going to go this way. And I mean, I'm not saying you would or wouldn't, but anything's possible, because no, that's true. That's true. Because yeah, you definitely got to make sure that little bell is lit. I think that's really the prime thing that that you have to have, because if that bell's not lit, I don't get your notifications. I got it, but it was about 2 hours later or 3 hours. Yeah, but like I said, I've actually told people, if you unsubscribe, resubscribe, make sure the bell's lit. That's really all that I can say. If it's anything beyond that, then it's a YouTube thing. You know. All right. Well, Janet, this was a good topic or discussion we had of the mix,
Thank
and
you.
I want to. Oh, you're welcome. Glad that you could be here, and
Me too.
I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in with us, and we will see you guys back here uh, next week. So definitely look for us then. Bye. Take care.
Bye.